Bueno, muy buenas noches. Muy buenas noches. Mi nombre es Tere Paniagua. I'm the director of the Office of Cultural Engagement for the Hispanic community at Syracuse University. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this new exhibition that Point of Contact, Punto de Contacto, brings to our community. I need to do this for just a second. Yes, we are commemorating National Hispanic Heritage Month with this incredible new exhibit. The border is a weapon. La frontera es un arma, here at the Muse Lab Gallery, which has been home to Point of Contact for the last 12 years. We could not be more excited and deeply grateful for the new collaboration with Syracuse University's Museum Studies program. Thank you to Andrew Saluti, Associate Professor of Museum Studies, and to his students who have done an extraordinary work installing this exhibition. Thank you also to the Mexican Student Association, MEXA, for all the support and partnership in this project. This program is part of this year's Syracuse Symposium on Landscapes, sponsored by the Syracuse University Humanities Center. And we thank the Humanities Center as well as the Syracuse University departments and programs who co-sponsored this exhibit, the Latin American Studies program, the Lenders Center for Social Justice, the program on Latin America and the Caribbean, PLACA, the Department of Languages, Literatures, and Linguistics, and Centro de Estudios Hispánicos. Thank you so much. Mil gracias por este apoyo que nos han brindado. And now it is my pleasure to welcome two gentlemen who will be leading tonight's presentation from the Laredo Center for the Arts. The curator of this show, Gil Rocha. Welcome, Gil. And Associate Professor of Studio Arts at Syracuse University, Juan Juarez, who is also the President of Point of Contact's Board of Directors. Welcome, Juan and Gil, and thank you for being here with us today.
So thank you for being here. Back in the summer of 2022, I was down in my hometown of Laredo, Texas. So I'm also a Laredoan. And I was doing a research project, visiting family as well. And there was this exhibition that was going to be opening in July at the Laredo Center for the Arts. The Border is a Weapon. Went to the exhibition. I was totally floored, with the work, the artists, the creative activity that was happening in Laredo, Texas. Contemporary art, the issues around the border, identity. And, after I went back to Syracuse, I contacted Tere immediately and I said, we need to bring this show to Syracuse. And that's where we are right now. So it was really great, to bring this, make it happen here in Laredo. And then this past summer, I went down again to Laredo. I kind of go on a summer trek to Laredo, to kind of recharge my soul. And we had a conversation, Gil and I, about, the exhibition, about the ideas behind the exhibition, kind of tackling some of the issues around, the title, the ideas behind the title, thinking about, the larger kind of context, for this idea of the border. I think at that point, it started to get, really concrete in our minds that, bringing this over to Syracuse would be a really great way to kind of shatter the myth of the border, the frontera with, the US and Mexico. What you get in the news is always this idea of a militarized zone, about failed immigration policy, and it's much more than that. So that's sort of where our conversation, kind of started to build and expand, for the catalog, for the show, et cetera.
Well, thank you, everyone. My name is Gilberto Rocha. I'm a former educator, and now, like Tere said, I am the board president at the Laredo Center for the Arts. An artist, a curator, and an advocate of the arts. And like Juan said, yes, we had this conversation, but maybe taking it a little bit further back to how this whole project initiated. It actually started through a friend that I met in grad school, Leah Patgorski, who is part of a collective called The Other Border Wall. And with her in that collective is Terene Iria and Jennifer Myers. And so I can let Leah talk a little bit more about their project, but just real quick, a summary of it is that they wanted to find out what was really going on at the border and if what they were listening to, I guess, up further north, was it real? Like, were all the facts straight? And what happened was that they visited Laredo. They found out for themselves. I took them across to the Nuevo Laredo site, which is in Mexico, and I showed them firsthand how it was. And even though it's not in its ideal conditions like it used to be maybe like a decade or 2 decades ago. Uh, it really is a very vibrant city. It is a very vibrant border. People are real friendly. Uh, just crossing to the Mexican side, like all your senses open. There's music and sound and food and all these things that they saw firsthand. And so coming back as a collective, they were given the opportunity to have an exhibition in Pittsburgh, and they offered me to be the curator for that exhibition. So I took the assignment of gathering 5 artists that I know really well, a few of them from Laredo, also from El Paso and San Antonio. And just to introduce real quick, the artists for the Pittsburgh exhibition were Juan de Dios Mora, who is accompanying us. And here's Juan de Dios Mora. Hey. Juan de Dios Mora is an artist. He's an educator. He works at University of Texas in San Antonio. He's a master printmaker. Yesterday, he gave a talk here in Syracuse University. Amazing storyteller. I'll let him talk a little bit about his work in just a second. But yes, let me introduce. This is Leah Patgorski with the Other Border Wall Collective. And Leah, do you want, oh, wait, hold on. Let me introduce the rest of the artists that are here present. Sorry, Leah. Maritza Bautista, who's also from Laredo. And I'll let them explain and, a little bit of who they are and about their work. And we also have with us Angel Cabrales. Joining us in that exhibition in Pittsburgh is also artist Daniela Cavazos Madrigal, and Jose Villalobos was also part of the exhibition. And this is one of Jose Villalobos' work. Now, the exhibition took place in January in Pittsburgh, but then working at the Center for the Art and being part of the board, I knew that it was just like a really good packaged exhibition. It was amazing, and I took it down. I proposed it to the board, took it down to the Center for the Arts, and the center having a wider space and a bigger space than what we had in Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, it was kind of like very political oriented. The border's the weapon, but I wanted to give it more of an ease, more of the type of like another aspect of who we are. And I don't think we've even covered everything representing all of who we are. But I decided to include into the Laredo exhibition Ruben Luna, who goes by the AK. His nickname is Gacho Style. You'll find him on Instagram. And also Candy Aguilar, who goes by Barrio Pop. And so now there's 7 artists, and which is what we have at the time in this exhibition, which is now the 3rd part of the Border as a Weapon. And with further ado, let me just present to you Leah so she can talk a little bit more about how the project, came to being.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Leah. I'm an artist based in Pittsburgh. And so in early 2017, there was this initiative from the government with our former president, build the wall. And with that, there was from the federal government, a request for qualifications, RFQ, for people to submit to get hired to build a part of the wall. So I was sitting with two other artists at a table, and we decided to submit, like, yeah. So we decided to submit, but as a kind of creative resistance submission. So you'll see that that's what you see on the wall over here. We said, oh, we want to, you know, kind of poke at this because they want submissions for like these really serious walls, but we're going to submit our idea, just like pencil drawings of like, what if it was just some trees and some hammocks for people that need to rest? What if we had these like pipe organs? What if it was just like we put some water fountains, like just thinking about more of a joyful response. I mean, if you need anything at all, that it should be like something helpful, something fun. And so we submitted those, and we got unexpectedly a lot of response. We thought it was just like a punkish thing we would do that no one would ever see. But then there were some articles that did a roundup of the submissions, and we were getting included. We were getting called by people. And one of the things on the wall is some manufacturer of pipe organs actually reached out to us and said like, hey, we want to help you do this. And we got some other kind of cool correspondence like that. But you'll also see like our rejection email from the government. So it's like, well, I guess that's not what, I guess we aren't who they're looking for. But with all that response, we kind of decided like, we're going to keep talking about this and doing things about this. And we had a chance to have an exhibition in Houston, and we were calling for more ideas. And then, and we thought, well, we need to go to the border because we are in Pittsburgh. We don't know jack about the border, or at least that particular border. And I'm like, I have this friend, his name's Gil, and my friend from art school, like maybe we can go and visit him. And as he said, we went to Laredo. We had a super good time there. Like he got us to be on the radio. He got us to be on TV. We're like, hi, we're just trying to learn about this place. And it was amazing. And we were just kind of captivated with all the beginning of threads that we could try and follow. And then fast forward, we wanted to do an art show somehow with this in Pittsburgh, and it's finally we got some funding, and so then we could invite him and say like, what do you want to do, and kind of just went forward from there. So for me, it's just super great, and I'm just so happy to see like how this is going forward, and more and more people to see the work of these artists. And yeah, we just see what else we can do.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
yeah. So just real quick, like the proposition or proposing of like the title of The Border is a Weapon. I thought that it was really important for us to take control of if somebody was going to say anything about the border, even if it was negative, that it would be us, you know, really explaining visually what we mean. And now like through talks and conversations and interviews, now the catalog and all these things, that we would give a better perspective coming from us. Like I said, like the border is not ideal. There's a lot of things going on, but who better to talk about this than ourselves? And so now Maritza Bautista.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Maritza Bautista. I am a multidisciplinary artist, educator, and cultural worker from Laredo, Texas. And my work is the text-based and video work, projection, and I have some photos in the other room. My work is about exploring wealth I like to think of how money moves along and across the US-Mexico border, just economical things that affect structures that exist in society. So that's what my work is about for The Border is a Weapon.
Hola, ¿cómo están todos? Hi, everyone. How you doing? So my name is Juan de Dios Mora, and my artwork, you're going to find it right next to the reception area back there. It's a black and white print. I'm a printmaker, and I really love what I do because being a printmaker, I can actually print multiples of one plate. It's basically like a stamp. So that way I can actually, a lot of people can have my reaction or the way I feel about the border. So that way a lot of people can actually get a hold of an artwork. But then my main mission, and I think all of us, our vision and mission is basically to provide something about the specific area of the United States because we live here. So living in the border for me is actually gave me so much. It's not so much as an artist, but also as a human being. See how my community, sometimes they struggle to survive, but they struggle to pass, move on to the next step in their lives. So I wanted to portray my community, my family in a way that they're heroes to me. So in the artworks, you're gonna see all these people being proud of what they do and what they deserve, because sometimes we we don't give them credit what they do. For example, my parents, they try so hard to survive every day. They have two jobs, two full-time jobs. And then that really, make me understand that basically I need to work harder for my goals, for my visions, and for my objectives. So in that artwork, you're gonna see all these working class, how they survive day by day, but also in the prints and the artworks, you're gonna see the ingenuity that they have, not just to survive, but also to show their pride or their heritage, their culture. So one thing that actually I really love about my prints is basically how myself I can see in these characters. So every time I do a character in that, in my artwork, I feel like I giving away something that I feel, and I said that it's mine, it's part of my heart, and I put it, in the prints, and I'm trying to share with you. If you hopefully you understand something about those, those prints. If you have questions, please by all means talk to me. But then everything is actually, it's made from my heart, and hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully you understand what's going on there. But everything has to do about stories and how we survive in the border and how we can use the art as a form of weapon. But it's not a weapon, literally like a weapon, but it could be as an educational format, but also something that we to share culture, to share something that we believe and we still adore, because that's, like I say, my family.
Hi, everybody. My name is Angel Cabrales. I'm from El Paso, Texas, and I'm a multimedia artist, big focus in sculpture. Mine is the blinking lights that are behind you and the neon pieces of America and the caged piñata. A big focus on the work that I have in here is really talking about the dehumanization of migrants that happens in the media, and my need to try to re-educate people on that, really talk to them about, like, well, I come from a border city, and we do not have this reaction that the media portrays. And a big part of that I attribute to my parents. My parents, my dad's an engineer at a missile, he's retired, at a missile range, and my mom was a politically active stay-at-home mom. But they found it really important to make sure that we never lost our roots in itself, learning that, my grandfather, who came down from the mountains in Chihuahua, came to the US illegally, saved money, went back to Mexico, and paid to come in legally. And so when we grew up, we had land, and we would have migrants that would come through, and we would have a cuartito for them so that we could put them up for the night or for the week, give them whatever work we could, have dinner with them, learn their stories, and really learn, that these are people just wanting to help their families, and learning that ourselves, like if we were in that position, wouldn't we want that help too? So it was a big part of who I am, and it's a big part of the city that I live in. I mean, even right now, with the thousands of migrants that showed up in El Paso, you see our community really pulling together, trying to help these migrants. I mean, and the media will just be like, look at all these people coming in. It's like, yeah, but you know what? They're people. They need help. And so that's what mine is talking about. It's like try to look at it from their view and what you would want if you were in that position. And that's why, like, one of the pieces that is titled, in Spanish, but it's you fear in proportion to your ignorance. So learn.
Oh.
Well, and I'm just gonna say that as a curator and also as an artist, looking at this work, reviewing it as these past 2 years have gone by, I've learned through their artwork different ways of even seeing myself in the border, and also listening to stories of audiences like yourself, where they can get something from themselves and really compare their lives, even if it's really far from a physical border. I mean, there's always like borders in our cities, like the other side of the track or the other side of the bridge, and these are connections that we can make. And even outside, like physical connections, there's also like emotional connections. So I mean, that is really something that I'm so appreciative of, like seeing in this exhibition, that I'm learning as I go. And I'm just happy to bring these artists and be here myself. And thank you, Juan, and point of contact and the Syracuse University and everybody, Andrew, Bryce, all the staff, everyone. Thank you so much for everything that you did. This has been like a whole year's project, going back and forth, emails and things like that. And so yeah, and I think we just bring it with our full heart, so that you can have an open mind, and then we can each talk about it and educate ourselves, because I think through that's how we're going to grow as a community, not only in the border but all throughout.
Yeah, the one thing to kind of like, add to that, in terms of like the conversations we were having about the work, about, the artists, this past summer, sitting down at your studio next to the train tracks, trying to survive the train passing, the freight train passing by. One of the things for me, as an artist and a native Laredo, and, when I was young back in Laredo, for me, it was always this idea of the border being a rather gray zone where it's permeable, things pass through and beyond the border. Recently seeing the border highly militarized and kind of closed off, it's very tragic and very sad to me as a native Laredoan to see that. That whole, kind of like our motto is Los Laredos, the gateway city, right? And, that kind of became, kind of closed in a certain way. But, for me, going back, to Laredo for the past 3 years on this regular trek every summer, I started to kind of, discover, my roots again, and I think, seeing the show, 2 years ago was kind of like, yeah, this is really great. What, these artists are doing, what they're presenting, in terms of not just being from Laredo, but a more expansive idea of, the border and borders, in other parts of the country as well, breaking those down. So for me, it's been a great journey, to kind of, and to bring this to Syracuse, it's just like, just totally awesome. I mean, it's a wicked show. I mean, I think please enjoy, the exhibition. We'd like to, open it up for, some questions, in the audience. Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank y'all for bringing this work here to Syracuse. It means so much to me personally, but I also think for the people in this area where the border is sometimes something very abstract and super far away, and to bring it here and make it visceral and real and have these like super moving works. I just want to thank you so much for that. My question is for whoever I'd like to answer, like, what was something that was like, that moved you toward this work? Was there some sort of like moment or catalyst when you're like, this work is important, that needs to be made? Because nobody, immediately, starts drawing and they're like, oh, this is the most, this work is important, I need to make it. But if something happens, or
you move toward, making work that's like politically and socially aware. Was there some catalyst that, that moved y'all to make some of this work?
Yeah. Here, get ready.
No, I don't want that. Okay, so for me, like I said, I grew up in El Paso, and I was fortunate to have my parents think it really important that we learn who we are, where we came from. So much so that we even had Spanish Fridays. We weren't allowed to speak English on Fridays because you got to learn, right? But for me, when I was in graduate school, before that, I was making a lot of artwork that was, well, it was fantasy, right? It was space. I love science fiction. But with everything that was happening along the border, I felt it really important to really, and seeing how the media and especially like the way El Paso and all of the other border cities were all becoming this political piñata for well, political pundits, right? I found it really important to try to do what I could to change that narrative, to show people that, you know what, we're not like this militarized, overrun, cartels jumping over the border, shooting at us. I mean, as I was saying to someone earlier, it's like Juarez was one of the dangerous cities in Mexico, with El Paso being the safest city in the nation. It was like, so that whole story of like, we're being overrun, they're coming over here, they're taking our jobs, they're gonna come and kill us, they're bad people, right? It's like, no, we're not. Where they're coming over, we're making them tacos, we're giving them burritos so they can go on their way to find some work to help their families. And that's the story that I wanted to help change.
Anyone else? A question? Do we have anything from online, Bryce? Yes? Okay. Hold on. And if you think of something else, let us know.
Okay, so from the online audience, we have a question. Where will this show be going next, and how many locations has it passed through so far?
Okay, so that is still open? I mean, the question was, how many places has the show been, and where else will it be going to? As of now, this is the third city that we've shown it, but I mean, we're open to proposals of like whoever wants to host us. The shipping, we already know kind of how much it's gonna cost. And yes, yeah, that's always, the budgeting of the thing and coordinating it. I mean, but I don't know, who knows?
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Destination, I don't know. Anything else?
In 2 or 3 sentences, can each artist share the inspiration and main message of their works?
Okay. We kind of covered that already. The question was, in 2 or 3 sentences, can the artist explain their work? Well, and here, 2 or 3 sentences.
Oh, I thought we were just saying words.
Or,
2, 3 sentences. I feel like respect towards my my community and my familia, but also try to bring something new and fresh to the arts as well, because that's what we now, this is contemporary art, and I feel like printmaking could be one of those venues, at least for me as an artist.
Yeah.
I guess if I would just say one more thing about our drawings for the proposal, just to point out the absurdity of the federal government's approach to these things being so removed, and how artists can use their tools to highlight that.
For me, I would say that it's it's the people and Laredo, which I love so much, but just the complexity of existing in a place like that, where it can be like very dangerous on one side and the best place in the other. But I think we all experience like these different thresholds, and so for me, it is a lot about how do you tell that story? You know, it's so beautiful, but it could be so painful at the same time. And that's what inspires me.
For me, it's of course, trying to change the narrative, but also like really highlighting who we are as a people. And it's not one side or the other. We are all together in this together. And in order to advance, we have to be able to talk about it. And so I want to make work that creates discussion on topics that most people are just being blinded to by media and politics, and really see them as you and me.
So, oh, wait, just one more question.
Again, you guys did a fantastic job. I'm from Laredo, and this is home, basically. Like everything from the stickers from HEV, which were like wild to see. Just everything is amazing, and it's so descriptive of our people. So my question is, coming from Laredo, there's like this like mindset that when immigrants move over, sometimes they like forget that they like we're immigrants too. So how would you guys say that we can like reclaim our like power? Would you guys say that art would be the way to unionize? Or what way do you guys think we could like bridge that gap?
I would say that as a curator and as an artist, I mean, the thing was that in past generations, like my grandparents and my parents, they've been very much into making objects for sale, anything from Dia de los Muertos, coronas, to, decorating like blouses and, things like that. But it's always been something to sell. And I think they've gone and passed through hard enough situations and leveled themselves to, I guess, a stability economically to give us the opportunity to express ourselves through artwork that we know that it might not sell. But that's not the point, I think. And so having this opportunity, you from Laredo, being here in Syracuse, you don't know how proud I was like to hear like the area code, like 956, because yes, because I mean, this is now, I don't know if that's when they say that they're coming to take our jobs, if this is what they mean, that we're being educated and now we're putting ourselves in positions that we can make decisions that are better for our families and not just to survive, but to, I don't know, to come into power in some, for ourselves, to elevate. Yes, that's to elevate.
That's a
Yeah.
great place to wrap up the talk. Thank you so much for those of you that are watching on the stream, the live stream, for attending the talk, and also welcome to the show. The artists will be here. Extend the conversations, more questions. Enjoy the work. Yeah.
And Tere, thank you so much, Tere.
I just want to say one more thing. We have a beautiful reception area with refreshments that you are all welcome to. I think we're going to do a bit of a walkthrough with the camera, but the sound presentation is now officially concluded. So it's okay to talk. Thank you that everybody was so quiet.
Okay.
Thank you, and welcome. I'm so happy to have you all here with us. We're incredibly proud of this show. When we opened at 6, something I mentioned, and I want to mention it again because he wasn't here before and he's here now, Professor Andrew Saluti from the Museum Studies program, who's done an extraordinary job installing this work with his students, and that he has been an amazing partner. And this is the first project that we do together in partnership in this way, in this space. And we could not be happier and more proud of what has been accomplished. I also want to welcome Cayetano Valenzuela, who is a Chicano artist here in Syracuse. And he is currently exhibiting his beautiful work at La Casita Cultural Center. Thank you for joining us today, Cayetano. And welcome everybody. Thank you. Enjoy.
we go. I know. You're like, oh. Oh. No, no, no. Hey.
Yeah. My boss was watching the Zoom and he said, let's make a show out of this.
Oh, okay.
Like a half-hour TV show.
Oh, wow.
And he wants to
So much. You guys did an amazing job.
yeah, and just say he wants to say
And the thing is, sorry, the thing is I posted it was gonna be at 6:30. I don't know if more people are.
I usually